So at this time of year, people have often had a bit of a break from their usual activities or sport. They've been away or on holiday and they're starting to get back into things. And this is a time when they're perhaps a little bit at risk of coming back too soon, overloading things and getting a bit of an injury. And so what I wanted to talk about today was this concept of load and load management. It's a really simple concept, and I think intuitively everyone knows about it, but sometimes it's just not thought about enough when people are getting back into their usual activities. So the musculoskeletal system is really complex and hugely adaptable. The different tissues of the body respond to load, and they get stronger if they get loaded in the right way. They get conditioned to the load that they need to be able to tolerate. So tendons, bone, cartilage, everything adapts to load if it's loaded appropriately. If it's overloaded too quickly, then things can start to break down, and that's when injury occurs. So in the case of tendons, that's tendinopathy or tendinitis. In the case of bones, stress fractures, stress reactions. And in the case of cartilage and joints, that's irritability and inflammation in the joint, or synovitis. And in the case of a joint that's already got a bit of wear and tear in it, that can happen much more easily than in an otherwise healthy joint. So at the clinic here, we would see lots of overuse injuries, particularly from people coming back into their sport after a period off or a break from their sport. And that's largely down to poor management of load, so essentially increasing their activities too quickly. So load is obviously going to mean different things to different people, and it's very specific to the activity. So in the example of a runner, the simplest form of thinking about load is looking at kilometres per week, so the volume of running. Obviously different things will impact on that, whether you're running on soft sand or concrete, but in its most basic form, it's the volume of what you're doing, and to some extent the intensity of what you're doing. So if I've had a break just for a week or two, or even a few weeks, the tissues will decondition a little bit, but not too much, and you're much safer when reloading. If I've had a break for a few months or more, then it's really important that as I get back into an activity, I do it really nice and gradually. In the case of an injury, if I'm coming back from an injury, or if I have a history of injury such as Achilles tendinopathy or knee osteoarthritis, and I'm trying to return to run, New Year's resolution, I want to run a marathon this year, I'm going to start my running program. It's even more important that you go gradually, because tissues that have some underlying pathology in them are going to take longer to adapt to load, and are going to be more prone to overload. So in that case, I might do a couch to 5k program over 4 or 6 weeks, and then gradually build from there. So it's obviously very specific to the individual, specific to what I'm conditioned to, what I'm used to doing, and what I'm trying to get to. There's no magic formula. People talk about a 10% rule, so increasing your load by 10% per week. That's really quite a gradual progression, and as a rule of thumb, that's quite a safe way to progress things. So in a runner, you're looking at kilometres per week and increasing that by 10% each week. There are people that can help guide that process, so if you have a coach, or at the level where a coach is involved, then they can obviously help guide loading. Physiotherapist or exercise physiologist can help, or here at the clinic we can help.